When everyone believed she was lost in the darkness, a pack of mysterious wolves found her first. But she never knew one of them had been searching for her all along. The rain covered the empty mountain road as Sophia Reynolds drove through the quiet countryside, unaware that one moment would change everything she believed about the world around her. The winding road stretched ahead for miles, surrounded by tall trees and endless wilderness. Sophia had always loved peaceful places, but that night the silence felt different. After the unexpected crash, she opened her eyes to a world she barely recognized. The familiar sound of her car was gone, replaced by the soft whispers of the forest and the cold night air surrounding her. She tried to understand where she was, but the road she had been traveling on felt impossibly far away. No voices called her name. No headlights appeared in the distance. She was completely alone. Then through the shadows between the trees something moved. Sophia froze as a group of wolves slowly appeared from the forest. They were unlike any animals she had ever seen. Their presence was mysterious, but there was something strangely calm about them. They did not frighten her. Instead, they stayed nearby as if they knew she needed help. Among them was one wolf larger than the others. Its eyes carried an unusual intelligence, almost as if it understood every thought she could not say out loud. Sophia did not know why, but she felt a strange sense of safety when it came closer. The wolf stayed beside her through the long night, never leaving her alone. When the first light of morning appeared, Sophia realized something she could not explain. These wolves were not simply passing through the forest. They had found her for a reason. Deep within the hidden wilderness, beyond the roads known by humans, another world existed. A world filled with secrets, ancient bonds, and creatures that lived beyond ordinary understanding. But Sophia knew nothing about it. She did not know that the wolves watching over her belonged to a hidden werewolf pack. She did not know that the quiet wolf beside her carried a secret far greater than she could imagine. His name was Ethan Blackwood, and he was not an ordinary wolf. He was an alpha who had spent years protecting his people, while keeping his true identity hidden from the human world. But even Ethan did not expect that the woman he rescued would become the most important person in his life. For Sophia, the morning brought questions she could not answer. Why did these wolves protect her? Why did the largest wolf seem to understand her fears? And why did she feel connected to a creature she had only just met? As she looked into the eyes of the mysterious wolf beside her, she felt that destiny had quietly entered her life. She did not know his name. She did not know his secret. She only knew that when she needed help the most, he was there. And soon, Sophia would discover that the wolf who saved her was not just a guardian from the forest. He was the one person the universe had chosen to stand beside her forever. The mysterious wolf never left Sophia Reynolds' side as the morning light slowly reached the forest. She still could not understand what had happened the night before. One moment, she had been traveling along a quiet mountain road, and the next, she had awakened in a place where the only signs of life were the trees above her and the unusual wolves surrounding her. But the strangest part was not their appearance. It was the feeling that they understood her. The largest wolf watched her with calm, thoughtful eyes, as if he was making sure she was safe before anything else mattered. Sophia had always believed she was practical. She trusted what she could see and explain. Yet nothing about this situation felt ordinary. These wolves did not behave like wild animals. They moved with purpose. They stayed close when she felt uncertain. And the one beside her seemed to notice every small change in her emotions. As Sophia carefully followed the wolves through the forest, she discovered a hidden path leading away from the mountain road. The journey was quiet, but she felt strangely protected. She did not know where they were taking her, but something inside her told her that she could trust them. The wolf in front of her continued looking back, almost as if he wanted to make sure she was following. Deep within the forest, Ethan Blackwood watched her carefully from a distance. He had spent years keeping his true nature hidden from humans, but something about Sophia was different. From the moment he found her, he sensed a connection he had never experienced before. He did not understand it completely, but his instincts told him that protecting her was important. Ethan knew he should return her to the human world as soon as possible. That would be the safest choice. But every time he looked at her, he felt a powerful reason to stay nearby. Sophia was not like anyone he had encountered before. She did not look at the wolves with fear or suspicion. She looked at them with gratitude. She saw them as living beings worthy of kindness. That simple reaction surprised Ethan more than anything. Many humans had forgotten the old stories about werewolves, and those who still remembered often saw them only as mysterious creatures to avoid. But Sophia saw something else. She saw a group of beings who had helped her when she had no one else. As the day continued, Sophia reached a peaceful area hidden among the trees. There were signs that someone lived nearby, but she could not understand how such a place existed so far from the human world. The wolves remained close, especially the largest one. She looked at him and whispered, "I do not know why you helped me, but thank you." Ethan heard her words, even though she did not know he understood. For the first time in many years he felt something change inside him. He had spent his life carrying responsibility and protecting others from the shadows. But this human woman had shown him kindness without knowing who he was. She did not know his name. She did not know his power. She only knew that he helped her when she needed it most. And that was exactly what made the connection between them impossible to ignore. Sophia Reynolds still could not explain why she felt so comfortable in a place that should have been unfamiliar. The hidden forest surrounding her was unlike anywhere she had ever been. Yet the presence of the wolves made the unknown feel strangely peaceful. She spent the morning learning the quiet rhythm of their world. They moved together with a sense of unity, always aware of each other, always watching over the group. Among them, the large gray wolf remained closest to her. Sophia began noticing small details that made him different. He seemed to understand her words, her emotions, and even the moments when she tried to hide her worries. She wondered if there was something more behind his intelligent eyes. She had always believed that animals could sense human feelings, but this connection felt different. It felt almost impossible to describe. Far away from Sophia, Ethan Blackwood stood at the edge of the forest clearing, carrying a secret he had protected for years. He knew he could not remain in his wolf form forever. His responsibility as an alpha required him to return to his people, but leaving Sophia behind felt harder than he expected. He had protected many lives before, but no one had ever made him question the distance he kept between himself and the world. Sophia was different because she did not see him as a powerful figure or a mysterious creature. She simply saw someone who helped her when she needed it. That simple kindness stayed in his mind. Later that afternoon, Sophia discovered a small cabin hidden among the trees. It was warm, peaceful, and clearly cared for by someone who understood the forest. She looked around with curiosity, trying to understand who could live in such a hidden place. The wolves stayed nearby, but the large gray wolf remained by the doorway, watching her carefully. "I feel like you are trying to tell me something," Sophia whispered. Ethan heard her voice and felt a quiet surprise. She was closer to the truth than she realized. He had spent years hiding the werewolf world from humans, because he believed distance was the only way to keep everyone safe. But Sophia reminded him that understanding could be stronger than fear. As evening arrived, Sophia sat near the cabin and looked toward the forest. She thought about the strange events that had brought her there. She should have felt afraid. She should have wanted to leave immediately. Instead, she felt like she had discovered a place where she belonged, even if she did not understand why. Ethan watched from the shadows, struggling with the decision. He knew the longer he stayed near her, the harder it would become to walk away. There was a bond forming between them, one he could feel but could not yet explain. Before that night, Ethan believed his destiny was only about leading his pack and protecting his people. He never expected destiny to arrive as a lost woman who needed help on a lonely road. Sophia looked toward the wolf and smiled softly. "I do not know what your story is," she said, "but I think there is more to you than anyone knows." For the first time in years, Ethan felt seen. Not as an alpha, not as a leader, just as himself. And he began to wonder if Sophia was not someone he was meant to save, but someone who had arrived to change his entire future. The morning after Sophia Reynolds realized the mysterious wolf understood more than she could imagine, the hidden forest felt different. She no longer felt like a stranger surrounded by unknown paths and unfamiliar sounds. Somehow, the quiet presence of the wolves made the place feel safe. She began noticing the small details that revealed how connected they were. They moved together, cared for one another, and seemed to communicate without needing words. The large gray wolf remained closest to her, always appearing whenever she needed reassurance. Sophia still did not know his name, but she had started calling him Guardian in her thoughts. There was something about him that felt familiar, even though she had only known him for a short time. Meanwhile, Ethan Blackwood struggled with a decision he never expected to face. He knew the moment would come when Sophia would discover the truth. The longer he stayed near her, the harder it became to maintain the distance he had always kept from humans. As alpha of his pack, Ethan had learned to control his emotions and put responsibility before everything else. But Sophia had changed something inside him. She had looked at him without fear. She had offered kindness without expecting anything in return. She had treated him as a living being with feelings, not as a mystery to be solved. That was something Ethan had rarely experienced. Later that day, Sophia explored the area around the hidden cabin. She found small signs that someone had carefully maintained the place for many years. There were books, simple furniture, and reminders that this forest was not empty. Someone had created a peaceful home far away from the human world. Her curiosity grew stronger. "Who are you really?" she whispered while looking at the gray wolf resting nearby. Ethan stayed still, but her question reached deeper than she realized. He wanted to answer. He wanted to tell her everything. But he also feared that the truth would change the way she looked at him. As the sun moved lower in the sky, Sophia noticed something unusual. The wolves were preparing to leave the clearing, but the gray wolf remained behind. He looked toward the trees and then back at her, almost as if he was making a choice. Sophia felt a strange sadness at the thought of him leaving. She had only known him for a short time, yet his presence had already become something she depended on. "Are you leaving too?" she asked softly. Ethan felt a powerful emotion he could not ignore. He had protected his pack for years, but he had never felt responsible for one person in this way. He stepped closer, and Sophia gently placed her hand near him, offering trust without hesitation. That simple moment made Ethan realize something important. The connection between them was not based on fear or obligation. It was built on understanding. Deep inside, Ethan felt the truth he had been avoiding. Sophia was not simply someone who had crossed into his world by accident. She was connected to him in a way he had never experienced before. But before he could reveal his secret, a distant sound from the forest reminded him that his pack needed him. Ethan looked toward the trees, then back at Sophia. For the first time, the alpha who had always carried every responsibility alone wondered if destiny had brought this woman into his life for a reason. Sophia watched the mysterious wolf disappear into the forest, unaware that the creature she trusted most was the very person whose hidden identity would change everything. Sophia. Reynolds spent the night thinking about the mysterious wolf that had disappeared into the forest. She expected to feel nervous after being left alone again, but instead, she felt a strange sense of trust. The creature that had found her after the crash had shown her nothing but patience and protection. She did not understand why, but she believed he would return. What Sophia did not know was that the wolf she had grown attached to was facing a difficult decision of his own. Deep within the hidden territory of the werewolf pack, Ethan Blackwood stood before his people, carrying the responsibility of an alpha who had spent years protecting their secret world. His pack members noticed that something about him had changed. The leader they knew had always been calm and focused, but now his thoughts were somewhere else. Ethan could not stop thinking about Sophia. He remembered the way she spoke to him without fear. He remembered how she offered kindness without knowing anything about him. For someone who had spent his entire life being seen as a powerful alpha, those simple moments meant more than he expected. The pack had survived by remaining hidden from humans for generations. Their world depended on secrecy and caution. Ethan understood that revealing their existence was not a decision to make lightly, but he also knew that Sophia was different. She had entered their world without judgment, and she had shown compassion when she had every reason to be uncertain. Meanwhile, Sophia began searching around the cabin, hoping to find answers about the place that had become her unexpected shelter. She discovered old maps, handwritten notes, and signs that someone had carefully protected this forest for a very long time. The more she learned, the more she realized that this was not just a forgotten area in the mountains. There was a history here. There was a reason these wolves were different. As evening approached, Sophia heard footsteps near the cabin. She turned and saw a man standing at the edge of the trees. He appeared calm and confident, with a familiar feeling that she could not explain. His eyes reminded her of the gray wolf who had stayed beside her. "Are you lost?" he asked gently. Sophia looked at him with curiosity. Something about his voice felt strangely familiar. "I could ask you the same thing," she replied. A small smile appeared on his face. "My name is Ethan." Sophia did not know why, but hearing his name created a feeling she could not describe. She felt as if she had heard it before, even though she knew she had not. Ethan carefully introduced himself without revealing the truth about who he was. He wanted to know if Sophia would see the person behind the secret, not the power behind the title. As they talked, Sophia noticed small details that reminded her of the wolf who had saved her. His calm expression, his protective nature, the feeling that he understood more than he said. But before she could connect the pieces, Ethan stepped away and looked toward the forest. He knew the truth could not remain hidden forever. The bond between them was becoming stronger, and he could no longer ignore the possibility that Sophia was the person destiny had brought into his life. She had entered his world by chance, but everything about her presence felt like it was meant to happen. Sophia Reynolds woke up the next morning with a feeling that something important was about to happen. The forest was quiet, but the silence felt different from before. She had spent the past few days surrounded by mysteries, yet the one mystery that stayed in her mind was Ethan Blackwood. Every time she looked at him, she remembered the gray wolf that had protected her after the crash. The similarities were impossible to ignore, but she still could not understand how two completely different beings could feel so connected. Ethan knew the moment had arrived. He could no longer allow Sophia to wonder about the truth while he kept hiding behind a secret. For years he had protected the werewolf world from humans, believing that distance was the only way to keep both sides safe. But Sophia had shown him that trust could exist between two different worlds. She had entered his life without fear, without judgment, and without knowing anything about his identity. That was why he wanted her to know the truth from him. Ethan led Sophia deeper into the forest, toward a peaceful area where the hidden pack gathered. She noticed the way the wolves looked at him. They were not simply following him. They respected him. They trusted him. Sophia felt a question forming in her heart. "Who are you really?" she asked quietly. Ethan looked at her with a calm expression, knowing there was no easy way to answer. He told her about the world hidden beyond ordinary human understanding. He explained that some creatures had lived quietly among humans for generations. Then he revealed the truth. The mysterious wolf who stayed beside her after the crash had been him. Sophia stood silently as she tried to understand everything she had heard. The memories came back one by one. The wolf who watched over her during the night. The creature who understood her fears. The presence that made a strange place feel safe. It had always been Ethan. But instead of feeling afraid, Sophia felt something unexpected. She felt relief. The secret that could have created distance between them somehow made the connection clearer. "You were the one who saved me," she whispered. Ethan nodded. "I was." Sophia looked at him carefully. She realized that she had never trusted him because of what he was. She trusted him because of what he had done. She had seen kindness before she knew his identity. She had seen compassion before she knew his power. Deep within the pack territory, everyone watched the moment quietly. They knew their alpha had found something that could change the future of their world. Ethan had always carried the responsibility of leadership alone, but Sophia had reminded him that even an alpha needed someone who could understand his heart. As the sun began to set, Sophia and Ethan stood together beneath the trees where their journey had started. She still had many questions, but one thing was clear. The wolf who found her in the darkness was not a stranger. He was the person destiny had been guiding her toward all along. And now that the truth was finally revealed, their connection was only beginning to grow stronger. Sophia Reynolds spent the next few days discovering a world she never knew existed. The truth about Ethan Blackwood had changed everything, but it had not changed the way she felt about him. She still saw the same person who had stayed beside her when she was lost, the same presence that made a frightening situation feel safe. The only difference was that now she understood there was a much larger story behind the mysterious wolf who had found her. Ethan watched Sophia carefully, expecting questions and uncertainty. He knew that learning about the werewolf world was not simple. Anyone else might have stepped away after discovering the truth, but Sophia remained calm. She did not focus on his power or his position. She focused on the person who had protected her when she needed help. That was something Ethan never expected to find. As the alpha of his pack, he had always believed his purpose was to lead and protect. He had spent years putting everyone else before himself. But Sophia showed him that leadership did not mean carrying every burden alone. One evening, Ethan took Sophia through the hidden territory and showed her the peaceful world his pack had built. She saw families living together, traditions passed down through generations, and a community that valued loyalty and trust. It was different from the stories humans often imagined. There was no fear in the place. There was only a group of people who wanted to live quietly and protect their home. Sophia realized that the world she had once feared was not the world she had discovered. "You spent so long hiding from humans," she said softly. Ethan looked toward the forest. "Because I believed it was safer for everyone. People fear what they do not understand." Sophia nodded. Maybe things change when someone chooses to understand first. Her words stayed with him. Ethan had spent years protecting his people from the outside world, but Sophia had done something no one else had managed to do. She had made him believe that trust was possible. Meanwhile, the members of Ethan's pack began noticing the change in their alpha. The leader they respected was still strong and responsible, but there was a new sense of peace around him. Sophia brought out a side of Ethan that had been hidden for years. She reminded him that even someone with great responsibility deserved moments of happiness. As the days passed, Sophia and Ethan grew closer through simple conversations and quiet moments. They did not need grand promises to understand each other. Their connection was built through patience, honesty, and the trust they had created from the beginning. Sophia eventually returned to the place where she had first met Ethan in his wolf form. She stood among the trees and remembered the night when she thought she had been completely alone. Now she understood that she had never truly been alone. Ethan had found her when she needed help most, not because he wanted recognition, but because protecting her felt natural. Ethan stood beside her, looking over the forest that had brought them together. "I never expected my life to change this way," he admitted. Sophia smiled. "Neither did I. But maybe some things happen because they are meant to." Ethan knew the truth. He had spent years waiting for a destiny he could not explain. He never imagined it would arrive as a woman who trusted him before knowing his name, his title, or his secret. And Sophia finally understood that the mysterious wolf who saved her was not only part of her past. He was the beginning of a future she never saw coming. Sophia Reynolds never imagined that a single night on a lonely mountain road would completely change the direction of her life. What began as a moment of uncertainty became the beginning of a connection that crossed the boundaries between two different worlds. She once believed that the forest was only a quiet place filled with unanswered questions. Now she understood that it was home to a hidden community, a world of werewolves, and the alpha who had protected her before she even knew his name. Ethan Blackwood had spent years believing that his role defined him. As the alpha of his pack, he carried responsibility, protected his people, and kept their existence hidden from the human world. But Sophia had shown him something he had forgotten. He was not only a leader. He was also a person who deserved to be understood. Their journey had never been about power or destiny alone. It had been about two people, finding trust when they least expected it. Sophia had chosen to believe in a mysterious wolf before knowing the truth. Ethan had chosen to protect a human woman before understanding the bond between them. Their connection had grown through simple moments, honest conversations, and the kindness they showed each other. As time passed, the relationship between Sophia and Ethan became known throughout the hidden werewolf community. Many admired the way they had found each other. Their story reminded others that true connections were not built on appearances, status, or expectations. They were built on understanding. Sophia never wanted to change the world. She only wanted to follow her heart and treat others with compassion. But by doing so, she changed the way many people viewed the relationship between humans and werewolves. She showed them that differences did not always create distance. Sometimes they created opportunities to learn and grow. Ethan also changed in ways he never expected. The alpha who once believed he had to stand alone finally understood that strength did not come from carrying every responsibility by himself. Sometimes strength came from allowing someone else to stand beside him. One evening, Sophia and Ethan returned to the forest where everything began. The same trees surrounded them, the same peaceful sounds filled the air, and the memories of that first night remained clear. Sophia smiled as she looked toward the path where the mysterious wolf had first appeared. "It is strange," she said. "I thought I was lost that night." Ethan looked at her warmly. "Maybe you were exactly where you needed to be." Sophia realized that the accident had not only brought her to a hidden world. It had brought her to someone who saw her kindness before anything else. Ethan knew that he had not simply found someone to protect. He had found someone who reminded him what it meant to truly live. Their story continued as a reminder that destiny does not always arrive in the way people expect. Sometimes it appears during the most uncertain moments. Sometimes it comes in the form of unexpected help from a mysterious stranger. And sometimes the person who saves you is the one who was always meant to walk beside you. Sophia and Ethan's bond became a symbol of trust, acceptance, and the power of seeing someone for who they truly are. The wolf who found her in the darkness was never just a guardian. He was the beginning of a new chapter, a connection written by destiny itself.